All the faith in the world.
We made it. Happy Monday. Elizabeth, it is Monday, and we know what day it is.
Well, we always have to have that reminder in our lives, I think, right? And I mean, it only took us 26 minutes to overcome a tech issue, but we're here. So
you're here. Welcome to Leadership from the Heart. I'm very grateful for everyone's patience because the tech issue was on my part. So thank you both, you amazing ladies.
I am very excited for Kori here. I talk about organizations that I'm a part of and serving and helping the community and things that just really speak to my heart. And Kori is one of those people. She's the executive director of partnerships for children that I've been involved in, and I want to get more involved in because it ties in my childhood, right? So many people know that I grew up in a family with foster children, and just the challenges and just the resources that are needed and all these other things. And Kori is just really leading the charge here in Austin and the Central Texas region. So Kori, thank you for joining us. I think the world of you, and I'm super excited for other people to get to know you more and your mission with Partnerships for Children. But tell us your background, give us your history, your summary, and we can't wait to learn more about what's going on.
Well, thank you. I love you, Elizabeth. You're amazing. She's on our advisory board and has been just a long time supporter of our organization. And we just love having you on our team. Yes, so I have been with Partnerships for Children. It's kind of funny. I fell into the nonprofit world. I graduated here in Austin from UT and then went and worked in the hotel business because I like to do social things and plan events. And so I got into that and started planning events for nonprofits and kind of fell into this world of nonprofit work. And I had my kids were young, my boys were young, about 17 years ago. And I just stopped my job, quit my job with the American Heart Association and was approached by Kelly Breeden, who is a leader here in Austin as well. And she said, what do you want to do with your time? I have this amazing board that I want you to look at that does this work. And it had just started for children that are in foster care. And it really was providing very important and tangible resources. And at the time, it was really very much focused around holiday wishes, which Elizabeth has been very involved with. So it was our rainbow room, getting things for kids every day for caseworkers, and the holiday wishes. And it was funny because, and it was like a God moment, I think, because I remember telling my husband that week, I said, I had been reading a series in the Statesman that followed a caseworker around for a couple of weeks. And I told him I just felt so called to do this work, but knew in my heart that I don't know that I was strong enough to. And I will tell you, these caseworkers are strong emotionally, mentally. It's a lot that they go through. And I just didn't know that I'd be able to do that and get out on the other side and be okay. But I feel like I can help them. And then Kelly asked me to coffee. So I felt like it was one of those times when I was like, okay, well, this might be my place to get involved. So I got on the board, started a lot of their fundraising, or all of their fundraising events, and chaired the board for a while. And, your stages in life, my boys got older, and all of a sudden I had more time on my hands because they were in sports. And the founder of the organization called and asked if I'd wanted to take on the role as executive director. This was 7 years ago. So I have been in that position now for 7 years. So that's kind of how I ended up with Partnerships for Children. I think it's hard for anybody anywhere to not have a heart and a passion for these kids that are just our most vulnerable populations always, because we're called to help them in as many ways as we can. But it's an interesting growth that I've had in being part of this organization, because it was always the helping of the child and getting them the things that they needed, but it's really branched out so much more to helping the family and what can we do for this family to ensure that they are safe and that they can do everything, because at the end of the day, kids want to stay with their mom and dad if they can, and we need to do everything we can. So the organization has grown quite a bit, but that's the early days of my involvement with Partnerships for Children. Now we have 5 programs and 13 staff, and it's grown quite a bit over the last 5 or 6 years, but it's been kind of a roller coaster. So.
Well, you talk about these programs you have, and we're speaking pretty broadly right now, but I mean, think about, and a lot of people might not know what they are, but Rainbow Room, which you're providing resources for the caseworkers when these kids, I mean, I've told the stories in the past where these foster children would show up at our doorstep with a trash bag and just whatever was in there. They had nothing. And so the Rainbow Room is really giving those resources for the caseworkers so those kids have something, right? And we're always doing Rainbow Room drives and donation drives for simple things like toothpaste. So you have that element where people get really involved in holiday wishes. And, we're talking about leadership. What comes to mind is your YES program, where you're actually, I would love for you to talk about the YES program, because with leadership, it's so important because a lot of these kids don't have that leader figure in their life, right? And I feel like with a lot of the programs you guys are doing, you're teaching leadership, you're showing people, you're showing compassion and empathy to these children. But your YES program, I think, is super powerful. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, absolutely. And I'll start kind of a little bit on, just because I was telling you my background, but let me tell you a little bit about partnerships. Like you said, most of Rainbow Room, and I'll go into the mentoring program. So yes, we opened our doors with the Rainbow Room. It was a statewide initiative that Laura Bush started when she was the first lady of Texas. It started in Dallas. Then we opened our doors here almost 17 years ago. And Elizabeth, you're absolutely right. I feel like sometimes people think we overplayed that kids with a trash bag analogy, but it's 100% true. They were always walking around from house to house, from home to home, from placement to placement with their stuff in a trash bag. Nothing was ever new. All of it was usually used. I will never forget a holiday wishes where the kid's first and second wish on his wish list was a toothbrush, because he'd never had his own toothbrush. He was 11. And I'm like, what? When an 11-year-old boy wants a toothbrush for Christmas, it's just crazy things like that. So that was the Rainbow Room, and it lives and breathes off of community donations. Like Elizabeth said, Rainbow Room drives and stuff. We hardly spend any monetary donation or money on those items. We spend the monetary money on beds, new beds and big ticket items. But that budget is like 1.5 million a year. It's huge. And we serve 11,000 kids in that Rainbow Room. And so it's just a constant in and out of inventory for caseworkers, for investigations, for every level of care. And it's just a huge priority because these, dignity, we just say this all the time with these kids, and not only the kids, the families, everybody. They need to have dignity. No child should be walking around with their belongings in a trash bag. What does that say to them? Really, what does it say to them? So, and our holiday wishes is very much that same thing, being able to provide some normalcy. But when you talk about leadership, you're right, Elizabeth. Our YES program is unbelievable, and it's by far, I tell people all the time, it's the program that keeps me up at night. It's the program that's brought me to more tears than any others, for sure, because these teenagers that are about to age out of foster care, and I actually mentored a young girl, and she had aged out of foster care. She was already 18 and had a baby while she was homeless and living in a car. And so, I've been through everything with her, and it's just a hard program, and it requires amazing leaderships, and it requires leadership in a person that's going to challenge your moral compass in big ways constantly. You have to be okay with that, and everything that you're doing for a young adult or for a child is saying, okay, what is in the best interest of this child, even though it might go against what I know and what is different for me, is just to be there for them. And we have, we've got over 200 mentors trained, and they are the leaders in our community. Amazing business leader, community leaders. I tell people all the time, I just can't, they go through like 9 hours of training even to become a mentor, and the things that we ask them to do, and we're very transparent about it. The challenges or the situations that they're going to hear about and see, trafficking and all of the stuff that we hear in statistics are going to be difficult, and they just want more. They want more training. They want more information. They want to do more. What more can I do? They are incredible. It is, they might go to a baseball game or get ice cream with their youth, but those aren't the things that they're doing that are having the biggest impact. It is just being there for them, being the person that they can call. It's an incredible program, and our stories, like I said, we've matched about 250 youth with community mentors in the span of this. The program's only been around for 7 years. And the stories that we have to share are the ones that, I can honestly say, and our director over this program has said it many times, there are a lot of young adults we still serve that would not be alive today had it not been for their mentor. 100%. I mean, there are very specific stories that we can share that were like, they would not have made it through that situation had they not had the support of their mentor. So it does take incredible leaders to stand up and do this, because these are the kids that have been in and out of the system their whole lives. And, you know, they've gone through so much trauma we can't even understand, but we want to help them through that and give them the best life that they can have and help them get to that, because they all can. It just, when you haven't had a lot of support, it takes a little bit more to get you to that point. So there's some amazing stories there. You know, if time permits, we can talk about it. And we've done so much work with them, as you can imagine, during this COVID-19. The work we've been doing especially with our aged out youth that are living independently, they're just struggling tremendously. So keeping them steady and okay and safe is a priority for us right now, for sure.
Well, and I was going to ask that question. I mean, you already have so many challenges with what y'all are doing in your different programs and all these volunteers and people that come through. And it's hard enough as it is when life is going as it is acting typical, right? And we're obviously in very atypical times right now. What challenges, or are you seeing increased challenges, and in what way with coronavirus and COVID-19 and shelter in place and the state slowly opening up? What challenges are coming up, and how are you guys overcoming those?
There's a ton. I mean, you know, when it hit in March and then through April, and it's interesting, and I was watching one of your other live streamings, and she just said, we just don't know too. So we don't even know what to predict for the future. So as an organization, financially, we've had to cancel our biggest fundraising event where, you know, what does that look like? And so what can we do? So it's just really been, okay, let's do what we can right now. For the population we serve, as you can imagine, there is not a population hit harder, most likely, than the ones that we serve. Because through, you know, the number 11,000 that I mentioned to you earlier, that we serve all of Central Texas. The majority, almost all of the families that we serve are low income. So we're serving a lot of we serve families in investigations, kinship, grandma and grandpa, aunt and uncle that are taking their kids in. We serve the family preservation. So those are kids that are still living in their home because their home is deemed safe. It's just they're so low income, they need extra help. And so a caseworker works alongside the family to help them out with that. So these families were already struggling. And then you're already adding a level of stress to parents that they're already in just a kind of a little bit of a tough situation anyway, to add another level of stress, having your kids there constantly, not having eyes on them regularly, like teachers and stuff. So what can we do to mitigate these challenges? How can we help them? And so a massive increase in food security for our families. So we started with Andrea Sparks at the governor's office, we started the Comfort Food Care Package, where caseworkers refer families to us, and then donors in the community can donate meals with local restaurants. So it helps our local restaurants that are struggling right now. And we've delivered over 550 meals to date.
Wow.
Which has been amazing. And so we have our own volunteers. We sent out 2 My Signups, and they filled within the first 15 minutes. And that's like, I think we deliver 16 meals a day or something, or 25 meals, anywhere from 16 to 25. So those meals, all of those volunteer shifts have filled up immediately. And we're going out and getting these meals to these families. So that's one less burden, one less thing they have to worry about. Getting iPads to them or tablets to them so that they can do their classwork has been a huge one. And then our Rainbow Room has been hit significantly with cleaning products, toiletries, diapers, basic stuff that we have. So those are the immediate needs that we saw right off the bat. Just ensuring with our caseworkers getting masks, I think it was 10,000 masks to our caseworkers. Just ensuring that they could do their things that they had to do immediately. Because as much as we're in shelter in place and not supposed to see anyone, our kids that are most at risk need to be seen. And so caseworkers are doing a kind of a hybrid virtual visits weekly, which they usually don't see their kids but once a month. So they see them weekly. And then they're trying to get to see them in person, but maybe not every single month. Our yes program's the same. We have a line item that's specific to COVID-19. We've been paying rent, we've been paying utilities, We've had many, HEB sent us a ton of gift cards. We're having groceries delivered to all of our families and to our youth. We try to think outside the box. What are other fundraising activities we can do? Who can we ask to help us through a lot of this time? And that's what we've been doing. So we have a dedicated fund specifically to COVID-19 right now. I mean, I can't even imagine what we would think about doing other than that at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's pretty important.
Kori, I'm curious, what is the typical age range for the children that the community is serving through Partnership for the Children?
So zero to, in my youth that I'm still, or young adult, I call her youth sometimes and she gets mad. She's 24. So we serve, birth all the way up to, through our YES program. It could go on forever. It doesn't have to. We like to try and catch these kiddos and get them into this program between the ages of 14 and 17, because, we won't deny a 19-year-old if she wants to have a mentor or he wants to have a mentor, we'll do that. But we really try to get them early because there is a financial literacy component involved that really does help them through planning for either vocational school or community college or something above and beyond job skills and a lot of that stuff that they need at a little bit of an earlier age. So we help kids right out of the hospital. Your caseworkers are grabbing stuff from our rainbow room to clothe the kid, to a car seat to take the child home in, all that from day one.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive to see what's all brought together and how the process is so seamless with y'all. One of the other programs, Renee, that they have is called the Heart Gallery. And this one, I might get emotional talking about it. I mean, this one, I'm not gonna be able to talk about it. It's the children that are outside of the adoption age and going to age out. And they have professional photographers that go and meet these children, and they take these gorgeous photos of these children just in their element and capturing their personality. And then there's a big event, I think it's every November, and we go and all of the pictures are up, and it's for these kids to be adopted. Aww. And it breaks my heart because there's like Kori's showing right now, there's this little book and it has all their photos, and I bring that home, and every year my kids will go through this. I have to hide it from them now, because it's like mentally messes up with my kids' mind, because they don't understand why I can't just go through this and adopt one of these children and bring them home. And so it's a heart-wrenching thing, but the stories that come out of it and the adoptions that come out of it are just life-changing for these children and these families. And that's a really awesome component that y'all have within Partnerships for Children it's just amazing to me. So
yeah, the Heart Gallery. So that's our newest program, and it's and I actually said that I cry. I don't know, maybe my tears for the YES mentoring programs are frustration tears sometimes, but the Heart Gallery one, it's the break my heart stories.
Yeah, I'm like completely messed up right now that I'm talking about it, but yeah,
we took on this program 5 years ago, and it had already existed with another nonprofit that they found that it was not sustainable. The Michael and Susan Dell Foundation, who have been longtime supporters of ours, approached us and said, we cannot continue to fund this organization, but we love this program and it's so successful. Could you take it on? And we did, and it's been amazing. It's children that are kind of deemed harder to place. So when a child becomes available for adoption, their rights from their parents have been terminated. They go into what's called a broadcast, and to child placement agency. Here's this child, blah, blah. They try to make a match. If they go through this twice without a match, then that kind of is where they are referred to the Heart Gallery. I will say most times a lot of these kids just come straight to the Heart Gallery, because the caseworker knows if a 17-year-old boy comes in, his rights are terminated with their parents and is available for adoption, it's not going to be like everyone wants to adopt a 17-year-old boy. Children that are medically fragile, sibling group of 5, those are always going to be a challenge for these caseworkers to take on. And so we have a professional, you talk about leaders in our community, professional photographers donate their time. And if you want to really start crying, start talking to them about meeting with these kids, and these kids get so dressed up. And this is the stuff that just breaks my heart, because no child should have to beg for a family, and they get so dressed up, and they ask the photographers, do you think a family will want me, or, they're trying to make a great impression, like they're going to a job interview. And it's just so hard, I know, sometimes to take. But the stories on the other side of this, before the Heart Gallery, we feature approximately 250 kids a year. So there are at any time about 250 kiddos in our Heart Gallery. And so it's got a pretty significant impact. And prior to the Heart Gallery, which is a nationwide program, in Renee, they have a very strong Heart Gallery in Florida. And I want to...
Really?
Yes. In fact, our Heart Gallery program director, I'm going to send you the link to it.
Please do, please.
Yeah, the Heart Gallery is a national organization. We're really the main one here in Texas, and a lot of other Heart Galleries are kind of run by the state, like CPS or whatever, which they're already busy. It's much more successful when a nonprofit takes on that work, because you can just get the outreach out more. But prior to Heart Galleries nationwide, these harder to place kids had a less than 1% chance of adoption. And last year we were running 65% adoption rates for these kids if they were placed in the Heart Gallery. So the numbers are just...
Gives me chills.
That's fantastic.
Incredibly impactful. It's these portraits go out into the community. It's really one of those. I haven't been talking about the Heart Gallery, so I love this opportunity very much right now, because it's kind of one of those that we had to pause because it's about is getting portraits out into IKEAs and into stores, into churches, and since all of that has been put on hold, it's kind of put the outreach initiative on hold. We are talking about, and also because everything's been focused on COVID-19, but we are going to start up again with our Forever Families weekly segments, and starting to do maybe little mini videos of some of the kids to get that out there, because it's such an important program. But thank you for asking about Elizabeth. I do. I love it. We have a Forever Family segment. It's on KView every Wednesday evening. And those are also just sweet. These kids are just absolutely beautiful and so sweet. And they get to do an activity that they love, and different venues offer up their space for free. And the reporters just enjoy getting to know them, and you get to put a face and a voice to these kids. And that's been instrumental as well. I think there's so many preconceived notions of what a foster kid is, and and they're just a kid. And, kind of breaking down those barriers is important to opening up people's eyes to what opportunities are out there in the foster and adoption realm. So,
well, what's really cool about this too, and Renee, you're going to understand this, because we had the founder of Real Producers in Orlando on as one of our guests, right? So to tie that in, I was in Real Producers here in Austin, and when you're chosen as one of the agents, real estate agents for Real Producers, they send a photographer out in your own world, right? And they had Rory come out, and he was doing my photos. And when Rory came out, we somehow got to talking about, he donates a portion of his time and his talent to charities. And we started talking about different charities and what was important. And I started talking about partnerships for children. He was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I want to learn more about this. And we talked about the Heart Gallery. And I said, well, I would love to connect you with Kori. And he's like, I would love that too. And there's so many conversations that happen sometimes, and things never come to fruition, right?
Yeah.
The intention is always there, but you just never know whatever happens. And he was so excited. Kori was so excited. They met. He is now one of the photographers for the Heart Gallery, and has been for a couple years. And he's so amazing with his talent, and he so loves doing this. And it's like the last 2 years, I'm walking around, and not only am I seeing Rory there, but I'm seeing all of his photos. And it's just because of Real Producers. Like, I was able to connect them. So it was cool.
What's interesting about that and the work that Partnership for Children is doing is that everyone who's involved, whether you're contributing, with time, treasure, or talent, right? And in this case, Elizabeth, you're sharing a photographer, Rory, who is not only contributing his talent, that is a contribution coming from his heart as well, because it's a challenging at times to put yourself out there and to have to go through navigating that experience. So that's pouring love in from your heart, which that's beautiful, right? It's bigger than someone just saying, here's a donation. That's a labor of love, which is, Kori, it sounds like everything you're doing is a true labor of love to help the community and the children.
I absolutely think that is 100% true. I think that the people that do all, not me personally, but for the volunteers,
we think you.
Our photographers and our mentors, and even everyone who goes onto our wish list on Amazon or whatever it is, it all comes from it's for the child. It comes from a true place of someone wanting to truly help and saying, you know what, I'm lucky in all this and blessed in so many ways. And I want to be able to help in the ways that I can. And it really is. It is absolutely a labor of love. And sometimes there's a lot more love than other days, but they really do. And just our photographers, just like our mentors, they want to do more. What else can I do? That's the one thing we've been able to maintain and grow our support base over the years. I think because it's so tangible and people can, see the pack of princess pull-ups that they walk in to donate, walk right out of the rainbow room for a little girl that was having problems based on, a history of whatever, of sleeping through the night. So I don't know what it is, but you can see the tangible impact that you're having right then and there. So people have not only wanted to stay in, but then they got more, we've had people that just bought a pack of diapers and they became a mentor. And now that one of them in particular is actually fostering a young boy herself, and then just adopted a teenage girl too. So, you, like you said, you start here, you never know where you're going to move in, but in that, in your life, in your next chapter, or whatever that might be. But it's amazing how much heart people put into this and how dedicated they are. And I've never seen it as much as I have over the last 2 months. I mean, it's been crazy, the support we've received.
As you navigate through the next 60, 90, 120 days, what do you feel one of the biggest challenges is that you face as an organization?
I've been asked that question quite a bit, and especially just in grants, and it is twofold. I mean, I think the biggest challenge is the impact in both incoming resources and outgoing resources. So our incoming resources are being really impacted. Again, our largest event we had was April 18th. We had to cancel that. Most likely we'll be canceling a girls and giving event we have in September. So there's that impact. We have a lot of third parties. So there's this, monetary impact on our organization. But on the flip side, what we need to be going out is increasing tremendously. So what we're needing to provide is increasing while the income is. So I think that that's going to be our biggest challenge for our organization in and of itself, is just finding that balance and then being able to, we are a very healthy organization. So I'm glad that we have that healthy foundation. So that is great. We have an amazing board. Elizabeth's part of our advisory board to help us through that. I will say foundations and community foundations in our area, and I know nationwide, have really stepped up. So we've been able to take advantage of some of that. So it's kind of shifting, and not knowing what that shift is going to be and when we're going to be able to open up, and not being able to forecast for the future makes it hard as an organization. Our families are not going to be out of this for a very long time.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now. They were having problems before this started. Yeah. So, when they're trying to have to get back to work and are behind however many months in rent and all of this stuff, I think basic housing and stuff are going to be the biggest issue for the population we serve, and utilities and rent and that kind of living, just being able to live again. It's going to be a huge problem for our population for sure. And that's the young adults we serve all the way up to the families that are taking care or have the care for our children. We anticipate seeing significant spikes in new cases in September or whenever they go back to school. It always happens that way because you get a lot more eyes on the kids. Yeah. And we think the state is already predicting that it's going to be that much more significant. So now you have a lot of kids coming into care, but we haven't had as many foster families trained or any of that stuff because of all of this. So that balance is going to be off. Where are we going to place these kiddos when a lot of that happens? And how are we going to provide the resources and services that these families need to get back on their feet and get their kids back into their home? So those are going to be some of the biggest challenges. And I think they're going to be pretty significant for the people we serve in the coming months. So we're keeping an eye on it and hoping that we can do, that we're here to help them and that we can collaborate with the people that we need to help make all of that happen, do the things that we need to do.
One of my big concerns is, as we all come out of this, and not just for the foster children or kids that are a little bit more impacted in a different way, but for anybody, I'm really concerned about the emotional stability and how people are going to just kind of reintroduce themselves back into society, right? I've had lots of conversations, Renee's had lots of conversations where people are truly struggling now. You've already alluded to it a bit, but one of my big concerns that I think about daily are the children. I know how stressful it is for me where I'm working and I've got my 4 kids at home, right? But they're in a safe, secure, healthy environment. And I know how stressful that is on me. What happens to those families or those situations, or even the families that aren't in the foster care system yet? And now this is all thrown on them, right? Because we're all
compounded, right?
Right. So my concern is those children. My concern are those families. Like, we know that they're not going to be they're going to feel a little bit helpless. They still have to work. They've got all these kids, and now all of a sudden they're managing stresses that is completely unimaginable. What resources are there within Partnerships for Children? Is there going to be counselors or emotional type of intervention for these families that are within the system now? And like you mentioned, in September, that's what my concern is. We're going to see a whole lot more of that because the families did not handle this well. So from an emotional, psychological standpoint, are there resources or systems that y'all have in place? Because that's not anything I've really, I'm really aware of all the other programs y'all do, but where does that come into play with the organization?
Well, so yes, there are. They're actually virtual. I will say that one of the things that we will come out of COVID-19 that I think will be great for some of our programs, especially our mentoring program, is a lot of this virtual stuff it's going to be a great platform for us to then migrate into our visits with our mentors. They see them once a week or whatever, but then maybe they can chat via Zoom twice a week. And, so we might be able to connect with them more. There are quite a few organizations. So our other program that we manage is Foster Community, and that's where we have all of our partner organizations that work in this space. We're kind of the backbone. We provide all the backbone support for Foster Community, and we go out and talk about, like, exactly like you said, Renee, where can you, whether you're just helping a family or if you want to be a foster parent or adopt, wherever you are on that, you can engage in some way. And we try to connect them with nonprofits that have these resources or child placing agencies to learn more. And we kind of provide all those next steps. So it has a lot of resources. And one of them is absolutely trauma-informed virtual therapy, all of that kind of stuff. And there are organizations in town that are doing Spirit Reigns is one of them, which is the horse equine therapy. I can never call it the right thing, but that does online virtual therapy for young adults and really for children too that are at home. It's not enough. We're probably scratching about 1% of what needs to have that, and it's going to be compounded as, again, we find out the kids that probably needed it this whole time and have not been receiving that. But there are opportunities to currently get online. We also have a resource page that we have specifically for teenagers through our YES program of, housing help and things like that, just basic resources that are available in town. So we're really trying to, if we don't provide it, we don't provide what we provide. We kind of have our areas that we do, and we know that there's a lot of more need out there, but we make sure to connect caseworkers and families to those needs with other nonprofits in the community that do a great job at that. So, I think, I don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, I am hoping that over the next couple of months that we, in the state of Texas, and our commissioner and Governor Abbott spend some time really thinking about what's going to happen when these kids get back in school, and how many caseworkers we're going to need to have available, how many beds we're going to need to have. And this is a national challenge. I mean, this is not, just for Central Texas. This is going to be a problem nationwide. What are we going to need to have in place to be able to serve those children and serve those families when all of this ends? Because as much as you're right, Elizabeth, how are we going to slowly navigate back into being, and not necessarily what we were, but what our new normal is going to be? How are we going to slowly start going back into the community? It's going to look so different for you and I than for some of the families that we have. And I just, I'm not quite sure that I have the answer. I don't know that anyone really does. I think that enough people are very concerned about it and talking about it, that it shouldn't come as I think people are anticipating and are doing some work to be prepared for that. We weren't prepared for this, obviously. I mean, I don't know that anyone can be prepared, but I've done enough surveys, been on enough calls, and involved in enough collaborations to know that there are a lot of people talking about exactly what you're saying. So I do know that there's some work being done, but it's still kind of being fleshed out at this point.
It's so important that, and good to hear that the Partnership for Children is focused on forecast out further into the future too. And you look at when the kids are going to go back to school, and I would think too, to even go a little bit further out, the implications that one could feel probably could start to surface even beyond that too, right? Is what does it look like as we navigate through this and different phases of what everyone's experiencing? We don't know how everyone is going to process the mental state of mind through things. And we don't know 30 days from now. So it's good to hear that there is focus on that for the organization and for everyone that you're serving.
Yeah, and I think that the community is doing such a great job of that. As I said, I've been on quite a few calls and done, in Austin is great about that. They really do want to keep a pulse on everything, especially in the health and human services realm. I don't think any of us expected it to be this bad. I mean, I think we joked in March about having to close down our event in April. We're like, so it's always, we think, okay, that's the worst case scenario. And I feel like we're kind of, everything has been that worst case, and then it's pushed back another couple of weeks, and another, everything has been. So I think if we've learned our lesson on anything, it's that to expect it to be, the best case scenario. I think we should expect it to be a lot worse than we would have anticipated. I think the implications for this population specifically are going to go well into 2021. And, there are some socioeconomic challenges here in Austin, and in any city that's growing quickly like we have been. The bigger our the more we grow, the larger that financial gap is between. And so it's a challenge that we've had for a while. And so even though we do have that gap, we also have a very giving community, a very engaged community. So, I do think that we'll be able to get through a lot of this, but it's going to give us the opportunity to collaborate more and to truly talk about what these challenges are and what we really need for these kids moving forward. So it's beyond food and diapers.
It's as weird as it sounds. I think this situation has really increased awareness, so much so for all these different organizations and needs. I mean, we've always been around, right? Y'all have been here forever, but not many people really took notice in all these different organizations. I know I'm much more aware. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that existed. I can get behind that, right? And a lot of people know about Partnerships for Children because of our Holiday Wishes program, which is it's so fun, Renee. It's where we adopt all the children, 11,000? How many were adopted?
We serve 11,000 kids through through the Rainbow Ribbon Holiday Wishes last year. Holiday Wishes did 6,800 kids. We provided
6,800 kids adopted for Holiday Wishes, and each of the kids put 3 wishes down, and it can be anything really basic to pretty extravagant, and they're all adopted by people in the community. So my kids each adopt a child, their same gender, their same age, and we go with our little shopping list to shop for them. And I love that because my kids, those are things they want. And they're like, wait, I want this. I'm like, yeah, but this isn't for you. So that it's teaching that giving spirit. But we get everybody, all of our friends, all of our community, all involved. And yeah, 6,800. And then we wrap them and the caseworkers deliver them to the families because it comes from the families. But it's just amazing that every single one gets the wish that they asked for. And so there's a lot of awareness because of that program. But I think with situations like this, it brings awareness to all of the other programs that you have in your organization and so many other organizations have that are serving the community so well, or the communities. So I think it's a horrible situation we're all going through, and I know the impact's going to last for a long time, but at the same time, I'm grateful for the opportunity to see who's leading, forward, getting to know the leaders. I mean, you're leading, and your staff is leading in so many ways, and they're leading our youth, right? Our next generation. And that's powerful. So I just so appreciate all you do and your heart and just everything you're doing for the community. And just, I'm blessed to have you in my world as well.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. You're amazing. And we love doing it. We're happy to be here. And we do have an amazing staff that does a lot for these kids. And yeah, we've been happy to be able to respond to it, and we really have been able to. And you're right, the community is amazing, and we love holiday wishes is our favorite. I'm hoping this is the most generous year. This past one that we had, most kids got 8, 10. I mean, we had one little girl that had her bags. We finally found 33 of 33, number 33. She had 33 bags of gifts. That's crazy.
What?
So, I know, it was just crazy. We laugh. I think, and I think this year's going to even blow last year away, because people just, they want to help. They want to give. This is made you realize, how lucky you are in so many ways. And when you feel that and feel blessed in those ways, you want to be able to, share with others and to be able to do for others. So we're happy to kind of navigate that for everybody and connect everybody in ways that we can. So it's been our pleasure.
That is leadership from the heart, right, Elizabeth?
Absolutely. I mean, I have chills. It's amazing. Well, one of the reasons we wanted you to come on today too, and especially all the nonprofits and organizations have been impacted with events. And, we had Cindy Lowe the other day on, who her company is one of the big event companies. Everybody's at a standstill. And so I know our big fundraiser was canceled. Actually, it's going online, but it's going to be a different feel. But we have Giving Tuesday, which is tomorrow. And so I thought it'd be, perfect timing for you to come on the day before Giving Tuesday. And Renee, do you guys have that in your community?
I don't think we do. You were the one that turned me on to that.
So Kori,
I think it's time to roll it out.
I know. I think
Giving Tuesday is a national Tuesday day of giving, but it's in November. I'm pretty sure it's in October or November. But anyway, they decided for COVID-19 to do a Giving Tuesday now, which is specific to COVID-19. Yes, so it's specific to COVID-19 relief. So we have, and actually the campaign page will be on our homepage, on our website tomorrow. We're sending an email out, and all funds that we raise will go towards really everything I've talked about today. Meeting, keeping up with the things that we already provide, and then providing a lot of food security, and then also rent and utility help that we're going to be rolling out in the next coming months. So yeah, it's just an opportunity for the community to put some monetary donations behind their giving to help with this, just with this pandemic, and help families get through this and help nonprofits get through this. And above and beyond doing things for our community, a lot of nonprofits are hurting, and I am sure that a lot of nonprofits are probably going to be closing their doors due to this, because it's just hard to stay open when you're really relying on that. And thank goodness we have a strong foundation, amazing board members, that we can stay open. So all of our funding will go straight to helping families that we raise tomorrow. But yeah, it's Giving Tuesday now. And I will tell you, Austin really is big on this kind of stuff too. So that's probably, and it's all very digital. So, but you need to look it up, Renee.
That's a good pivot, I would say, is to move it up early, and let's get it moving right now while there is a definite need at hand.
100%.
Well, I am so glad you came on with us today, and we got to share, some of the challenges y'all have had, but some of the positives that you're seeing as well with the organization. And just thank you for everything you're doing. Again, it's the most vulnerable, and you guys are stepping in a very, very big way and showing them true leadership, loving these kids. It's what we're about. So thank you.
That's cascading leadership too. I mean, whenever there's an organization who is focused on the children of the community, that cascades out in ways that it's just such a positive impact on the community. So kudos to you, Kori, and your team, and everyone who's contributing to the organization.
Thank you both so much. We really do love what we do, and love the mission and values of this organization and the people that we serve and the people that support us. We're so thankful for all of it. So thank you guys very much. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see you in person at some point. And
I know. I hope soon. I'm ready to get out, I have to say. I'm ready.
And I think the online gala is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. So, all right. Well, anytime we can do anything to help, keep doing great things. And we look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
Great to talk with you. Bye.